In this video, I want to talk about how you can access millions of dollars of cryptocurrency for trading, even if you don't have $1 million yourself. I'm going to talk about how you can do this with, zero money down, totally for free. And if you've been following along with this YouTube channel at all, I've talked about some strategies about how you can do that in the past. But today I want to outline a detailed strategy that I've never actually covered before in this channel. So if you are new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. And one of my favorite things to talk about on this YouTube channel is how you can actually take this understanding of blockchain technology, acquire technical skills, and leverage them for profit in ways that you can't really do anywhere else unless you gain this specialized understanding. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step from start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. And last but not least, as always, there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. I'll never give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. All right, so let's talk about this. How can you access millions of dollars in cryptocurrency for trading, with zero money down, basically for free? Well, I just released a video on my YouTube channel talking about, top strategies for creating cryptocurrency trading bots. And inside that video, I talked about the concept of a flash loan. But in this video, I want to talk about how you can actually take that concept and bring it to the next level with this new technique that I want to outline today. And really quickly, before we do that, a quick word from our sponsor, which is actually this YouTube channel. So sometimes people say like, hey, how can we help, support this YouTube channel? Well, as always, like I said at the beginning of these videos, whenever you smash that like button down below, it really does help this channel because YouTube, shows videos based upon engagement. And when you like the video, it convinces YouTube to surface the video in more people's timelines. And so if you just take a quick second and hit that thumbs up button, that really helps these videos out. All right, so let's talk about this brand new technique where you can borrow millions of dollars of cryptocurrency for trading, whatever you want. So, if you're brand new, I just want to recap what the concept of a flash loan is. Maybe you didn't watch that last video. Well, this is where you can take millions of dollars of cryptocurrency, you can borrow it for free and do stuff with it as long as you pay it back in the same transaction, or basically pay it back instantly. And you might say like, hey, why on earth would I want to do that in the first place? Why would I take out a loan that I immediately have to repay back and can't hold on to it? Well, that's because the blockchain supports complex transactions. And if you're doing a transaction, let's say I want to send cryptocurrency from my account to yours, that's a single transaction. But if I want to trade a token on Uniswap, that's a transaction. But as a programmer, as a developer, you can actually create smart contracts that execute, basically complex transactions. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. And with flash loans, you can say step 1, borrow $1 million. Step 2, do a bunch of stuff with it. And then step 3, pay it back as long as you return the entire loan amount. So why might you want to do this in the first place? Well, you might want to do it for arbitrage trading. That's exactly the strategy that I talked about in this last video for the top trading bot strategies. This is essentially where you buy cryptocurrency on one exchange and sell on a different exchange for a profit because there's a price discrepancy. Maybe it sells for $100 on one exchange and $101 on a different exchange. You can just take out a flash loan for, maybe millions of dollars to buy those cryptocurrencies and then sell it in a different place. You can also do it for liquidations for delinquent loans in DeFi. You can do it for leverage and yield farming and a whole lot more. These flash loans are basically a version 1.0 of this technique that I want to talk about, where you can have access to all this capital with no down payment. And now I want to talk about version 2.0. That's a new technique that I haven't covered before in this channel, and I want to talk about it right now. So the next generation of this is what's called flash minting. So instead of flash loans, you have flash minting. So what does that mean? So instead of a loan where you're borrowing money from somewhere and you're paying it back instantly in the same transaction, flash minting is where you're basically creating new tokens for an instant, and then as soon as that transaction is completed, you're just removing them from the token supply. So we can see some details about this on the Open Zeppelin blog here. They're one of the first people to kind of propose this idea. There's different types of flash mintable tokens. You can see asset-backed tokens. There's flash mintable tokens. You can see a brief explanation of what they are. I'm going to draw a diagram here on my screen in a minute so you can see this more clearly. But we've seen flash minting take off with some real-world implementations with WETH 10. Okay, so what is WETH? Well, it's wrapped Ether. It's the ERC20 version of the Ethereum cryptocurrency. So what is that? Why is it important? Well, basically, whenever you have Ether, it's the native cryptocurrency in the Ethereum blockchain, and it works different from pretty much every single cryptocurrency out there on Ethereum. Every cryptocurrency that's built out of Ethereum is an ERC20 version, is an ERC20 token, and WETH basically is just the ERC20 version of Ether that makes it compatible for decentralized cryptocurrency exchanges. And the big thing here is flash loans. You can't do flash loans with Ether, but you could do a flash loan with wrapped Ether, WETH. And by the same logic, you can't really do flash minting of Ether itself, but you could do flash minting of WETH. And you can see the details for that inside this post here. All right, so I want to give you some details on how this can actually be implemented. But before I do that, let me just kind of draw a diagram explanation of how this works, how flash loans are different from flash minting. Because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is basically obtain $1 million or more of cryptocurrency for trading, arbitrage, DeFi, whatever. But you can do it through different means. So with a flash loan, let me actually fix my spelling here, flash loan, you are borrowing, this amount of money, maybe $1 million of cryptocurrency. And so in order for that to happen, you have to have $1 million of this cryptocurrency sitting in a liquidity pool somewhere. And then basically that liquidity pool has to have an interface where you can borrow this money and then pay it back, essentially do a flash loan, keyword loan, you're borrowing it. So it has to already exist and then you pay it back. But flash minting works differently. Okay, so flash minting is essentially just integrated directly into the token itself. So the cryptocurrency has to support it. So basically, with WETH, for example, if you see this upgrade of WETH 10, then essentially you can just talk directly to the WETH contract and you can, flash mint this WETH, and then whenever the transaction is finished, that amount of WETH will just disappear. So you don't have to have WETH sitting inside a liquidity pool somewhere. You can basically just talk to that flash mintable contract directly, create those tokens, do something with it, and then pay it back or burn them, so to speak, after that transaction is completed. All right, so now let's look at an actual implementation of this. Like if you were going to try to attempt this yourself, how could you pull it off? So I'm actually going to reference this GitHub repository here. This is from Austin Williams, who is one of the original, researchers and pioneering something like this. So you can see an implementation for this flash mintable token here. But before I talk about any of the code on this, let's just see how it works. So if you were going to do a flash minting, scenario, maybe use this as a strategy to trade or, do DeFi, whatever. There's going to be two different smart contracts in this case. Okay, there's the token itself, and this is how it works, differently from a flash loan. It's doing flash minting, and then you have your contract, which is the borrower in this case. All right, so you have the token and the borrower. This is only two smart contracts. If it were a flash loan, there would be three contracts. You'd have the token, the liquidity pool where all the tokens are parked, and then you'd have the borrower. So it's less complex in this case. So let's talk about how the minting actually works. So the token has to support this. That's another limitation of this strategy is the token, if it doesn't support flash minting, then you can't do this. But for tokens that do, essentially they'll have some sort of function that handles this. It'll be a flash mint function that you can call from your own smart contract. And in those internals, essentially it's just going to create new tokens with some sort of minting function. It's going to supply them to your smart contract, and then this will, basically give your tokens here. And then whenever that's finished, you return the tokens and you burn them. So the important thing here is the transaction actually has to work in order for this whole chain of events to take place. And if it doesn't work, it's going to fail. And you can't lose the money. You can't mess anything up. You would lose the gas fees that you pay to attempt this, but there wouldn't be anything really bad happen with the supply of the cryptocurrency that you were trying to mint in this case. It can't really go wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. So on the borrower side of things, this is your smart contract that you implement differently from the token. So essentially the token supplies funds to your contract, and you'd have some sort of borrow function, okay? And, you can do whatever inside of this. Maybe you're, like I said, doing an arbitrage, doing a liquidation, using it for leverage and DeFi. Well, you would essentially receive the tokens, do something with it. I guess that's a step that I missed inside of here. This is do something with it in here. And then you would pay it back. And on this final step, it would burn the tokens once it's completed. And so now let's actually look at some of the coding implementation for this. And before I do that, I want to maybe address one objection that you might have, or maybe a point of confusion or skepticism as you're watching this video. You might say hey, that doesn't make any sense. If you could just flash mint tokens, you could just implement some insane amount of tokens and, really throw off the economics of the design. Why would you want to just be able to mint, an infinite amount of tokens? Well, you can actually have asset-backed tokens, which we're going to talk about here in a second with WETH. So I'll tell you how to get around that problem, but let's look into the code here. So essentially, if you're going to create a flash mintable token, you can see this example in this research that I was talking about before, where essentially you just create this flash mint feature. It does exactly what I was talking about here. It uses this mint function, which there's a lot happening under the scenes here. But basically, it creates an interface for the borrower where you can actually execute the flash minting or like the flash loan in this case. And then whenever it's done, it does that step, which I was talking about a second ago, which is it burns the tokens. All right. So let's talk about the scenario where you don't want to just mint an infinite amount of tokens because, hey, that could throw out the tokenomics like I was talking about a second ago. Well, this is for asset-backed tokens. So WETH is an example of this. So wrapped ether, essentially you have to have ether in the smart contract that, backs the value of the tokens themselves. And, WETH is the wrapped Ether, so the ERC20 token version of that. So what you can do is essentially create a constraint in your flash mint function that says, hey, the amount of funds that you're borrowing can never exceed the total supply of the tokens. So essentially, if you're going to do flash minting, you could mint a lot of tokens, but you can never mint more tokens than there are, Ether in the smart contract. So for example, let's say the, WETH contract holds, 10,000 ETH or something like that. I'm just making up the number off the top of my head. Then you could never at any point in time, flash mint more tokens than that. And so that's a high level introduction to how you can, borrow, millions of dollars of cryptocurrency with this new technique that goes beyond flash loans with this strategy that I just, detailed out in this video. Here's an explanation of how it works. And here's some coding examples that you can reference to see, how this is implemented and how you can add this to your own projects yourself. And so now I want to hear from you down in the comment section below. Do you actually want to see like a coding tutorial implementation of something like this that's like, maybe more step by step? As always, I want to put out the best content on this channel that you all want to see. And, over the last several months, this space has exploded like crazy and has definitely attracted a wide range of people into this audience. During that time, I haven't put out as many coding tutorials as I have in the past, but I've got a lot of awesome coding tutorial ideas that I want to, put out really soon. And I want to make sure I'm creating things that you all actually want to see. So let me know down in the comment section below, is that something you want to see? And what tutorials do you want to see that we haven't put out already? And one idea that we've been throwing around on this channel is actually doing, one of our live streams as a coding live stream. So we do live streams on this channel every Monday through Friday. Just turn on the notifications, subscribe to this channel. You'll find out about those whenever we go live. What I've been playing with is basically taking one of those live streams, maybe one day per week, and actually turning it into a coding workshop where you can get your hands dirty on some of these introductory concepts. And maybe this would be a good example of something that you could do in your first, coding workshop. So if those ideas interest you, if you want to see a coding live stream, if you want to see how to do all this stuff, leave a comment down in the comment section below. As always, subscribe to this channel, smash that like button if you haven't already. Like I was saying before, that really helps these videos out so more people can find them and learn about blockchain. And if you want to get your hands dirty today, start actually learning the nuts and bolts of this stuff so that you can, do the strategies that I'm talking about in this video. You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. Like I said, I'm trying to add more to those really soon. But you can take any of those now and start building your own real world project. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step by step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.